Wir haben den Machern von Strafe ein bisschen ihre Kickstarter-Kampagne versaut, denn Strafe heißt im Deutschen eben auch Strafe und sie haben jede Menge merkwürdige Google-Ergebnisse bekommen und da dachten wir uns, naja, zum Ausgleich wollen wir euer Spiel aber auch mal ein bisschen zeigen. Deshalb ist heute Thom Glunt hier. Welcome, Thom.
Thank you.
You're here from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And you brought the game. This is sort of nearly the final version.
We're getting there.
And it will be on PC first.
Yes, there's still a lot of rough edges to this as we get to the end of development. We're going to be polishing and optimizing. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Es ist ein Ego-Shooter, es ist ein Shooter, wie es Quake 1 oder 2 waren und es ist ziemlich blutig für damalige Verhältnisse und wir springen jetzt gleich rein und ab jetzt werden wir wahrscheinlich die ganze Zeit Englisch reden, aber im Notfall seht ihr hier auch jede Menge Gameplay-Szenen, selbst falls ihr das nicht verstehen solltet. So, we're just going to jump into the game. Yep. It's a single player only. There are 3 secret modes that we're not going to talk about.
There are 3 modes that are asynchronous multiplayer, but nothing that deathmatch. You know, there's so many great deathmatch games on. We wanted to focus on making a good single-player experience.
And I have the choice between 3 starting weapons. Which one should I?
I'd say choose the shotgun. But when you start the game, you choose between a shotgun, a machine gun, and a railgun. And it dictates kind of the way you play the game overall. If you want to kind of get close range, mid-range, or long range as your base level of play. But even though you have one gun that's kind of yours that you're upgrading throughout the game, there are over 20 other weapons that you'll be picking up and using throughout the experience. You're not just limited to one.
What can you tell us about the structure of the game? Is it a single player? Is there a story? There is a campaign? But how does it work?
So it is a roguelike, and what that means is you're going to have a randomized experience every time you play. But with that, I thought it was really important to have a sense of progression and a sense of story with the way the game plays. I think he's bugged, but in doing so, you will feel a sense of progression throughout the whole game. Each level has its own set of rules. You maybe see different enemy types per level, and each zone has its own game style, setting, enemy types. So it should feel like if you beat it in one run, you would feel like it was just a single-player game that was authored. That's our hope. And but with that said, we want to keep. If you're a skilled player, you can beat it in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and be able to hopefully just jump in and play again and again and again.
So these the structure is like 4 levels for
3 levels.
3 levels in 4 zones.
Yes.
This one is the first. And there is something special about the end of the second zone, of the second level in each zone. What can we get there?
I mean, each zone has kind of some interesting secrets to discover. So you're able to not only discover new enemies, new weapons, and items, because at the end of every second level, you'll get access to a merchant shop where you can buy things that will change the way you play. More offensive, interesting ways to change the game, such as like an airbud that's like a turret that flies around and shoots enemies for you, or like double jump boots that have a shotgun on your heels, so when you jump over enemies you can blast them to pieces while you're jumping over them. Just things like that. But then you'll also be able to discover very deep secrets that are secret levels, secret games, and things that actually are very different than what you're seeing on screen now.
You can only have 2 weapons at a time, if I'm right?
No, you can actually have any gun you pick up.
Okay.
But you can, the guns you pick up, like this machine gun here, you can't reload it. So if you were to find another machine gun before this one's empty, the ammo would just overwrite the ammo that's there, and the whole point of that is to make sure that you are utilizing the weapons as you get them. Because when I would play a lot of old shooters, I would just be saving all the weapons for a boss that never came.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not how you want to play a game. You want to be able to use it and embrace the action. So we build it so that you'll be finding a ton of them, use them when you find them, save them if you want, but we kind of punish you if you're just hoarding.
Whoa. There is... So there is active reload. I have to reload my weapons. I can reload them manually.
You can. Also, though, if you are out of ammo, you click and it'll dry fire, then reload. But we want you to have to actively think about it, so it's not just holding fire the whole time.
and you will lose whatever shells you have if you reload.
Yes, but we have items in the shop that use those shells for other things. So one of our items allows you to, if you reload before half of your clip is exhausted, your hand will come up with the clip, and it's a grenade. You can throw it, and it'll blow up when you hit enemies with it.
Cool. So what is this?
So that's a bench. You can use these to craft armor and ammo, and these will help you get through the game and protect yourself. Be careful though, as it's crafting, it'll attract enemies with the sound. And you can use scrap here, and you can use scrap in the scrap lords, which are kind of like ATM machines. You can convert your scrap to credits and buy things from the merchant shop with that.
So I always have to think about how I use my scrap, and this is giving me some health, I guess.
So that's a lift there? Yeah.
This is an old school
Careful
lift.
though.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Nice.
Oh, maybe a little bit too close, but I'm gonna take this one.
Hey, it's action packed.
This is sort of an end, and like I said, there are 50 rooms in each zone that the game can sort of
Pull from.
pick and combine with other rooms and
So
elements.
even though we are, a randomized procedural game, when you're making an old shooter, level design is very important. So you can ride that lift up. So what happens is you need to have rooms that play well, that feel like they were designed and created and have a little bit of a flow to them. So we designed each room to have a little bit of like a multiplayer feel, where there's multiple paths through most of it. And there you go. And it's going to hitch up really bad right here. This is one of the things the team's working on at the moment, where as it draws pathfinding for the next level after it's generated, it hitches, and that's not going to be there on ship. So, but yeah, so we wanted to make each room feel created by an artist, feel designed, and then from that, reconnect them in different ways and lay that out differently so that you never know what's around the next corner, even if you may recognize the room.
So, and whoever played the original Doom will know this room, sort of the layout, and there's someone stuck to the wall. Hey. So how many how many enemy types will we see in the game? Ooh.
So there's, I think, a little over 20 enemies in the game. Each zone, we introduce a few new enemies that are not only... There'll be reskins of old enemies, but there'll also be new enemies with different AI. And yeah, this room is going to be a real challenge. I should explain real quick that all the orange stuff on the ground is acid. And if you step in it, you'll take damage. So
what I can try is... Oh no, I can't.
If you secondary that corpse when you're far away from it, don't do it too close or you'll hurt yourself. You might be able to cover up some of that acid.
So the blood is actually...
There you go. It did a little bit.
Covering up the acid, and it's like a gameplay element. It's not just for show, but it's also very much for show.
Yeah, you have to get to that lift. There's a dry space in the back there. Yeah.
Oh, I want the update. Oh, damn it. Shit. Ah! Damn it.
So, yeah, with, what were we talking about right before that? I'm blanking. Oh, the enemies, yeah. So, we introduced new enemies that fit each zone, and then new weapons also that you'll discover on the ground as you play.
As we see in this screen, we see the episodes, how far we got. The first one is Icarus, this is the spaceship, and we got to the second level of this part of the game, and we can see down here some icons. Can you tell me something about those?
So as you collect those perks that pop out of those crates you shoot,
yep.
Those will give you perks that update your gun's rate of fire, so that it can shoot faster, its accuracy, its damage, and its clip capacity. And there's also, what's not on that screen is you'll find throughout each zone, you'll find these machines where you can upgrade the damage to your secondary. It'll take more ammo out of your gun when you use it, but it'll make the explosion larger and it do more damage. Because as you get to the later zones, you might run into enemies where you might have to sync multiple secondaries into them to kill them. Whereas in the first zone, you can see it's like a one-hit kill to everything. Because, like I said, it's important for us to make sure the guns feel good from the start, because if they start and they feel very weak and you're not really doing damage to enemies, I don't think it would be fun. You wouldn't want to pick it up and keep playing.
Since we already talked about enemies, and one of the most important things in those kind of games, of course, are boss enemies. So will there be some kind of boss fights? Will we see some kind of boss enemies?
There's I would say 2 enemies in the game that I kind of consider mini boss-esque. They're kind of tankish, they do a lot of damage, and they're pretty rare, but they're not bosses. And then there is a boss to the end of the game, which caps everything off. And we worked hard to make that really interesting, because I don't like most boss fights in games. I think, in first-person shooters specifically, because it usually boils down to just, here's an enemy with a lot of health, and you're just sinking shells into them. And done poorly, that's pretty boring. So we tried to make it make sense in the world and make it interesting. Because even though Strafe, looks very realistic, and it's we still try to root everything in reality for the game. So like you can see the HUD is built into the helmet. The boss, we try to create a system as to why he's there, and you're fighting that thing.
Just wanted to show quickly that you can actually, you have a helmet and you can look down and see which items you picked up.
And in this build, the map is not in, but on the left side, you'll be able to have a map that you can look down into, but hopefully you never use it, because that's why we put in the gore, that's why we put in, we designed the levels, went through many iterations to make sure that it flows well, and it's not something that you'll get lost in too much. Oh, that one's my favorite. You got a damage perk right there, out of that box in there.
What I didn't pick up yet is sort of an extra item. That's a damage perk. But before I saw in one playthrough sort of a grenade that lets me control the enemies, or lets the enemies fight for me. How many of those kind of gadgets will be in the game?
We have 20 items that you can pick up, and I believe that's 15 that are passives that you just collect, and they allow you to do new abilities, such as the double jump. There's we have one that's, what telefragging is, where if you go through a teleporter, it blows up whatever's on the other side. We have an item that allows you to point at a glutton, these enemies right here, and if you press E, you'll teleport to their current position, blow them up, and then just continue moving from wherever they were. Kind of fun stuff like that we can stack up. And then we have 5 expendable items, where, like you saw the mind control chip.
Yeah.
We have an aggro stick that you throw, and the enemies will run towards it, so you can collect them in one place to blow them up. We have kind of trip mines that you put on walls, and then it creates a beam that you can use as traps. Stuff like that.
How about difficulty?
Difficulty, there's only one difficulty. Being a roguelike, we wanted to make sure it's challenging, yet fun, and as you play, it's more rewarding to rise to the occasion than to just lower it down.
I hope we'll see the end of this level.
You got it.
I'm not sure.
There's health on that back wall if you can.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna run there.
And there's a shotgun
and
too.
And a new weapon.
This shotgun, okay, so when you find these, the core 3 guns as you're playing with another one, so the shotgun as you're playing with a machine gun, this one has a lot of perks already stacked on it. It's extra strong, it's very accurate. It's kind of like a shotgun you would play with in the core game if you were at the 2nd or 3rd zone.
That's why it looks different. Will the main level, will the main weapons look different after some upgrades as well? Or?
Every upgrade changes the aesthetic, but that's for. So say you switch the shotgun to a Slaughterfaust, which is a grenade launcher, the front of the gun will change. If you change the secondary, the clip underneath it changes, so you can kind of see the different looks.
Oh, a plasma rifle.
So when this one's empty, be careful, you throw it and it'll explode.
Oh, okay. Good to know. This one it seems a lot bigger than, damn it.
Nice.
This is still the first level. It feels a lot bigger than the last one. How big will the levels get? So
we're aiming for the levels to take anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. So there's a few rooms that are very large in the seed, and there's a few in the pool, and there's a few rooms that are very small. So we do a little bit of math in the generation to kind of make sure you get pairings that average out to be around the same length. But at this time, there are variables, so you might get really large levels or really short levels still too. Hopefully more rarely.
I think I did something stupid there. I'm not sure if I pulled the... Oh no,
You got him.
he died.
He's just wiggling.
There is some scrap, and I saw...
Watch out for there's one behind you now.
What?
Like up on the ceiling.
Whoa!
There he is. Yeah.
And I don't have enough life for experiments. And we see a lot of gore. And we are going to get some scrap for the next level. So you have to shoot these crates.
You're collecting it before it flies out, which is so you don't see it, but you're collecting it still.
It's there. And I think I saw the exit over here. And that's the exit.
So we tried to make it bright so that you have a sense of where it's at the moment you glance at it. So it's streaming in the next level. Since we're not optimized at this point, it's going to hitch up, but when we ship, it's going to be smooth. And if anything, the tube will grow longer as it needs to load, but that's what we're going for. You can see your stats here, kind of like you would at a lot of old shooters. You'd see how many secrets you discovered as far as a percentage, kind of your headshot count, hit count, kills.
And since this will be the end of our little demo, should I hit F4?
Sure. Let's see if that...
So what's that? Oh, look at this.
Before you pick that up...
Oh, sorry.
Okay, do it again. I think the first time it just breaks. This is in the second zone. You do a series of events to get access to this thing, and when you find it, you're able to play this mini-game.
And this is not the only mini-game in the game. There are several to be found. And
this was made by Rogue Noodle. It's a great game. We love it, so it's a real challenge. And with these, the hope is that
damn it.
By beating them, you'll unlock some perks.
Yes.
As far as maybe getting some scrap. You have to click to start again. There'll be a death screen that's missing right now. And the whole point is to give you a break from just combat and let you discover something new.
Wow, that was a bump. Und ihr könnt ja selber probieren, ob ihr das vielleicht hier ein bisschen besser schafft, sowohl das Hauptspiel Strafe als auch hier diese kleinen Minispiele, denn das war unsere kleine Präsentation zu Strafe, das am 28. März für den PC erstmal kommt und dann aber auch für die PlayStation 4. How about an Xbox version? It's not announced yet?
At some point we'd probably like to go there, but now we're just focusing on PC, Mac, and PS4.
Okay. So thanks, Thom, for showing
thank
Strafe.
You for checking it out.
The game you had some troubles with the name, at least in Germany. It's a nice thing, and we're looking forward to the full version.
Awesome.
Thanks for being with us. Tschüss.